How are you guys? This is probably the 6th episode of React.js tutorial series. So we split JSX over multiple lines for readability. They're talking about this JSX const element equals to, in parenthesis, h1 opening tag hello comma, in curly bracket we have format name of user, then exclamation, and then closing h1 tag, then parenthesis close semicolon. So they are talking about this particular JSX. We split JSX over multiple lines for readability while it is not required when doing this. We also recommend wrapping it in parentheses to avoid the pitfalls of automatic semicolon insertion. Okay, JSX is an expression too. After compilation, JSX expressions become regular JavaScript function calls and evaluate to JavaScript objects. Okay, this means that you can use JSX inside of if statements and for loops, assign it to variables, accept it as arguments, and return it from functions. So this is a hodgepodge, a mixture. I saw it earlier, that's why I know it's a hodgepodge. Function get greeting of user. All this does not mean anything in particular, so I like to advance. Specifying attributes with JSX. You may use quotes to specify string literals as attributes like this one, const element equals to opening a tag, a link. href equals to, in double quotation we have https://www.reactjs.org. okay, the opening a tag is closed here with the greater than sign, then link, and after that we have the closing a tag semicolon. You may also use curly braces to embed a JavaScript expression in an attribute like this, const element equals to image opening tag source src equals to, in curly brackets we have user.avatar url, then opening tag closes with an greater than sign, after that image closing tag semicolon. Don't put quotes around curly braces when embedding a JavaScript expression in an attribute. You should either use quotes for string values or curly braces for expressions, but not both in the same attribute. Okay, warning: since JSX is closer to JavaScript than to HTML, React DOM uses camel case property naming convention instead of HTML attribute names. Okay, for example, class becomes class name in JSX, and tab index becomes tab index with I capitalized. Specifying children with JSX. If a tag is empty, you may close it immediately with forward slash greater than sign, like XML. Const element equals to the image opening tag img src equals to, in curly brackets we have user.avatar url, then forward slash and greater than sign semicolon. JSX tags may contain children. Const element equals to parenthesis we have div opening tag h1 hello, then h1 closing tag h2 good to see you here, h2 closing tag, then div closing tag parenthesis semicolon. I believe h1 and h2 they are called children of div. JSX prevents injection attacks. Okay, it is safe to embed user input in JSX. Const title equals to response dot potentially malicious input, and then comment. This is safe. Const element equals to h1 opening tag, in curly bracket we have title, which is actually the response dot potentially malicious input, and this one follows camel case, then h1 closing tag. Okay, semicolon by default. React DOM, how much time? Escapes any values embedded in JSX before rendering them. Thus, it ensures that you can never inject anything that's not explicitly written in your application. Everything is converted to a string before being rendered. This helps prevent XSS cross-site scripting attacks. JSX represents objects. Babel compiles JSX down to react.createElement calls. These two examples are identical. The first one is const element equals to, in parentheses we have h1, class name greeting greater than sign hello world, h1 closing tag parenthesis closed semicolon, and this one uses JSX. In the next one does not use JSX. Const element equal to react.create element of, in parenthesis. First of all we have h1 in single quotation comma, then we have class name colon greeting, this key value pair in, curly braces. So it's an object comma hello world. It is also in single quotation, after that parenthesis closes and semicolon. React.createElement method performs a few checks to help you write bug free code, but essentially it creates an object like this. Okay. uh, Comment note, this structure is simplified. Const element equals to, so what is this? I guess this is, what is object inside object, something like this, because I get to see only key value pairs. In curly braces we have type colon equals to h1 in single quotation comma, another is props colon, and then another pair of curly brackets. This is another object. Then class name colon greeting comma children colon hello world, curly braces closed semicolon. These objects are called React elements. You can think of them as descriptions of what you want to see on the screen. Okay. React reads these objects and uses them to construct the DOM and keep it up to date. We will explore rendering React elements to the DOM in the next section. Tip: we recommend using the Babel language definition for your editor of choice so that both ES6 and JSX code is properly highlighted. Okay, since we have time, I guess we can go to the next chapter, rendering elements. Elements are the smallest building blocks of React apps. An element describes what you want to see on the screen. Const element equals to h1 opening tag hello world, hello comma world, and h1 closing tag. Unlike browser DOM elements, React elements are plain objects and are cheap to create. React DOM takes care of updating the DOM to match the React elements. Note: one might confuse elements with a more widely known concept of components. We will introduce components in the next section. Elements are what components are made of, and we encourage you to read this section before jumping ahead. Okay, rendering an element into the DOM. Let's say there is a div tag somewhere in your HTML file. Okay, so div id equals to root and then div closing tag. We call this a root DOM node because everything inside it will be managed by React DOM. Applications built with just React usually have a single root DOM node. If you are integrating React into an existing app, you may have as many isolated root DOM nodes as you like. To render a React element, first pass the DOM element to React DOM.createRoot method, then pass the React element to root.render method. Okay, colon. So const root equals to React DOM.createRoot of parenthesis document.getElement by ID of root parenthesis closed const element equals to h1 opening tag hello world, then h1 closing tag root.render equals to element. I believe we don't need to declare the element we do not, without declaring the element, we could directly write like this: root dot render, in parentheses we could have written h1 opening tag hello comma val, then h1 closing tag parenthesis close semicolon. Let's try it on CodePen. So you get to see the HTML and also the result, but you do not see the JavaScript code, React.js code yet. HTML is div id equals to root. This is opening tag, and there's a comment, and there's also a closing tag. The output is hello world at the moment. But what is the JavaScript or the React.js? Const root equals to react dom dot create root of document dot get element by id of root. Okay, const element equals to h1 hello world h1 closing tag root dot render equals to element. Okay, could be. Let's get back. It displays hello world on the page. Yeah, we know that. So how much longer do you think it might take? I guess if I continue it will take at least, let's say at least 10 minutes. So let's close the video right here. So okay guys, see you in the next one. Thank you.